Just hit a button, Morty, give me a beat.
Oh man, okay, alright,
Who should Newcastle sign after their Saudi billionaire takeover? Episode 2 of 3. This video will be the second episode of my Newcastle takeover series, and in this video I will be analysing who I think Newcastle should look to bring in their first transfer window after their Saudi takeover. In the previous episode I looked at 3 candidates to replace Steve Bruce as manager before I talked about my first choice option. That video will be linked in the eye above and in the description below. So as I specified in the first episode, the manager I would choose to lead Newcastle forward into this new project would be Atalanta's Gianpiero Gasperini. I analysed Gasperini's system at Atalanta in the previous video, so now I'll be looking for players who should be signed to fit into that system. Newcastle don't really have any players who they can sell to bring in some money, so there isn't going to be much added to the transfer budget other than the Saudi investment through a potential shirt sponsor and maybe some other Saudi sponsors as well. But with FFP still around, this means that Newcastle aren't going to be able to go and just spend £300 million in the next transfer window, so they are going to be restricted to an extent. I would estimate that their transfer budget would be around £150 million to £170 million, based on what Kieran Maguire, a football financial expert, has said, and what I spoke about in my previous episode, so I will be suggesting transfers according to that budget. So what positions do Newcastle need to improve on? Well, the easy answer to that question is everywhere in the long term. This is because if Newcastle want to be competing for a Champions League place in the next few seasons, then their whole squad will need a drastic overhaul as Manchester City's and Chelsea's did when their investment came. But that can't be done all in one summer, so Newcastle need to be looking to bring in 6 or 7 players this transfer window. 6 or 7 players in the next summer transfer window and maybe 6 or 7 players in the summer after that, to completely revamp their squad, making it Champions League quality. So asking the question again, where do Newcastle need to improve immediately? Well, Gasperini won't need a new goalkeeper, as Dubravka has shown he's arguably one of the best in the league this season. Schär and Lascelles are good enough starting centre-backs, with Lascelles being the central centre-back in the back 3 and Schär playing as the left-sided centre-back. Kieran Clark and Lejeune are good backup options, but Gasperini will need to bring in a ball-playing centre-back who can play on the right side of the back 3. This is because Gasperini's wide centre-backs need to be able to play incisive passes into players between the lines when moving forward from the bottom of the diamond. The player Newcastle should look to bring in is Marseille's Boubacar Kamara. Kamara is 20 years old, so is a great age for Newcastle to sign. His contract expires in 2022, and with Marseille being in financial trouble after having huge losses over the past few seasons, Newcastle could probably get the young Frenchman for around £25 million. I wouldn't rate Kamara as highly as centre-backs like Ibrahima Konate or Upamecano, but he's still one of the best young defenders in the world, and will probably be on the radar of some of the biggest clubs in the world in the next few seasons. I'd describe Kamara as a stopper centre-back rather than a covering centre-back, as he's a very good reader of the game, allowing him to step forward from the back line and intercept a pass into the forward, enabling the attack to be broken up before it gets into the final third. This is a skill that Sergio Ramos has been so good at over the past decade. Kamara's ability can be seen as he's made the 15th most interceptions of any centre-back in Ligue 1, with 1.7 per 90 minutes, which, considering he is playing for the second best side in France, is very impressive. He is also an excellent tackler, as seen as he's completed the 5th most tackles of any centre-back in Ligue 1 with 2.2 per 90 minutes, whilst only being dribbled past 0.7 times per 90 minutes as well, showing that attackers are rarely able to dribble beyond Kamara because of his one-on-one defending ability. Kamara is also very good on the ball, which is a vital part of Gasperini's 3-4-3 system. Kamara is a good long passer, as seen as he's completed 4.4 accurate long passes per 90 minutes, whilst he only makes 3.5 inaccurate long passes per 90 minutes. He's dispossessed only 0.3 times per 90 minutes, which shows that he doesn't give away possession often, which makes him suitable to a side building out from the back under pressure from the opposition, as Gasperini's sides do. Kamara at 25 million would be an absolute bargain. I'd give him a rating of 6.8 at the moment, meaning he is towards the top level of the Europa League class and just below Champions League class. In terms of his potential ability, I think he could be world class and one of the best defenders in the world, which is why I'd give him a potential rating of 8.2. Just in case anyone is wondering what I mean by this, by Champions League class I mean a player that could easily play in a side in the last 16 of the Champions League, and the same for Europa League class as well. The two wing backs are crucial to Gasperini's system. One of his Atalanta side's main attacking patterns is a turning wheel in a diamond shape, where they look to create diamonds on either side of the pitch whilst in possession, with the intention of using positional rotation to enable the wing backs to run off their man and receive a ball down the channel, allowing Atalanta to get in behind the opposition's back line. Atalanta have two very athletic wing backs in Robin Goslins and Hans Hatterborn, whereas Newcastle do not currently have these same types of players to the level required. Matt Ritchie could be a decent makeshift left wing back if needed, but he doesn't have the same raw pace and dribbling ability that is necessary to fully play this role. Whilst DeAndre Yedlin does have this, I think Newcastle could find a much better all-round wing back than him. They do have Lazaro currently on loan, but instead of signing him permanently, I would look to bring in Norwich's Max Aarons to fill the right wing back slot. Aarons is a homegrown player and is just 20 years old, which are both massive bonuses. He does have a contract until 2024, however with Norwich likely to get relegated and the impact of the coronavirus potentially hitting them hard, I think Aarons is attainable for around 25 million. Aarons is a very promising offensive fullback, so would fill the role of a wing back perfectly. He's incredibly quick, which makes him perfect for making those quick runs from the wide point of Gasperini's diamond, beyond the centre forward at the point of that diamond. Aarons has the ability to progress the play forward with his dribbling ability, which is especially effective at moving the ball from the defensive third to the opposition's half. He has completed the 7th most dribbles of any right back in the league, with 1.3 per 90 minutes, which considering that Norwich are the worst side in the league is pretty impressive. For him to really push on to be a top class fullback, he needs to improve his end product in the final third. He's recorded 0.7 key passes per 90 minutes, which could be improved considering Reece James has recorded more than double that with 1.5 per 90 minutes. Despite this, Aarons is definitely a threat when he's able to square up a defender in the final third, and once he improves his crossing ability and decision making, he should easily be able to rise to being one of the best attacking fullbacks in the league. Despite his offensive ability being the most eye-catching aspect of his game, it is his defensive play which is surprisingly impressive. He is a fantastic one-on-one defender, only being dribbled past 0.6 times per 90 minutes, whilst only making 1.3 tackles per 90 minutes, which means that he is putting in a tackle more than double the amount of times he's getting dribbled past. This is largely due to his pace, which allows him to race back and make recovery sliding tackles. His anticipation is also very good, which allows him to throw his body in the way and block crosses and shots. Positionally, he can improve as sometimes he does lack the positional awareness, which allows wide players to make runs off the blind side of him, but playing in a back five, this should cover his weakness significantly, with an extra centre back in the back line covering those gaps. In terms of rating Max Aarons, I do think there is significant improvement to be made, which is why I'd give him a 5.9, which would still put him in mid-table class level but on the cusp of Europa League class, and I do think he can improve rapidly and become a Champions League level wingback in the next few seasons, which is why I would give him a 7.8 for potential ability. So the left wingback I would look to bring into Gasperini's side would be Barcelona's Junior Firpo. Firpo has struggled to nail down a consistent role in the Barcelona side after signing from Real Betis last summer. However, Firpo is an extremely talented player and perfectly suited to playing the left wing back role. Junior Firpo, who will be 24 in August, was signed for an initial fee of £16 million, however it is reported that Barcelona are keen to offload him and value him at just £18 million, which considering he was being touted around major European clubs whilst at Betis for north of 35 million, this seems like an absolute bargain. Firpo fits the description of an athletic dribbler who can make direct runs down the channel, which is what the wingbacks will be tasked with in Gasperini's side. He hasn't featured much for Barcelona this season, but in the 2018-19 season he completed 1.3 dribbles per 90 minutes, which was more than Nelson Semedo or Jose Luis Gaya that season. Whilst Firpo stands out in terms of his dribbling and ability to run in behind the back line, he isn't a standout creator just yet. In the 2018-19 season he completed only 0.7 key passes per 90 minutes, which whilst being around the same output as Theo Hernandez or Jose Luis Gaya, it isn't the output of a world-class wing-back at the moment. However, Firpo has shown signs that he can develop into a similar player as Alphonso Davies at Bayern Munich, In a number of games against high-profile opposition for Betis, including Barcelona and Real Madrid, Firpo had an outstanding attacking performance, routinely being able to isolate his fullback in one-on-ones and making runs down to the byline before playing low balls across the box or playing a ball back to the edge of the area. This is a skill set that would be much needed with Gasperini's wingbacks looking to make runs down the channels multiple times throughout a game. Firpo is a good defensive wingback as well. In the 2018-19 season, he completed 1.8 tackles per 90 minutes, whilst only being dribbled past 0.8 times on average per 90 minutes, showing that he is a capable one-on-one defender. Firpo's key attributes are his dribbling, low crossing and one-on-one defending ability. He could also play as an offensive left back or as a left winger if needed. I'd give Firpo a current ability rating of 6.7, but he has the potential to be one of the best left backs in the world, following a similar development line to Hakimi or Davies in the Bundesliga, which is why I'd give him a potential rating of 8.3. In the next episode, I will be looking at 4 other signings I would make for Newcastle this summer, whilst also analysing how Gasperini's side would work tactically with all the new signings integrated into the side, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss out on that. Also check out some of my other videos in the description below.
To Piqué, Busquets to Roberto. Did they gamble too much? The Champions League hero against PSG leading the break. Gomes looking for the overlap. Alba inside. It's Messi! Oh,
Again! The medicine man arrives and sinks his flaming spear into the hearts of Real Madrid. Astonishing from Messi. Beautiful counter-attack. All the pieces falling into place. Messi, born in the crossfire hurricane, and he is jumping Jack Flash right here